Sustainability. When I talk sustainability, probably one image appear in all of your minds. That is one green tree surrounded by a jungle of concrete. Probably that is the most stigmatic image of sustainability that had been created in our mind. We have been trained to believe that sustainability is something to do with preservation of forests, little less plastic pollution, and also preserve the nature ultimately. But is it the right thing to do? Sustainability, does it only mean saving the environment? Previously, sustainability was seen as an aftermath. So we used to design systems, and then after that, when it starts harming the environment, sustainability used to come into the picture as a token of apology, that we are doing our bit for the nature in order to preserve it. But this thought process is actually outdated, because at today's point in time, only those designs will work, only those systems will survive which takes sustainability as the key component before designing anything. So the starting point is sustainability right now, and right here I'm going to tell you how exactly it will work. So previously, sustainability used to contribute to only environmental engineering disciplines. However, at today's point in time, sustainability contributes to ideas that actually which ideas they scale, which firms or companies actually survive, and which careers tomorrow will stay relevant. So before reducing the damage, we need to focus on eliminating the damage. And that is why the core principle of sustainability lies with the design concept. So sustainability at today's point in time comes at the beginning, where you start designing, where engineers find their efficiency, and sustainability shapes the future. This allows me to move to my next point. Sustainability always had played as an underdog for last 2 to 3 decades, where it was more of a response. We have seen rivers, surface water bodies severely polluted across the country, across the globe. We have seen smogs filling out the cities, filling the lung of the cities. We have seen habitat loss. We have seen wildlife is getting affected because of pollution like anything. However, one question remained very, very predominant, that under which lens we are evaluating all this, because sustainability actually stays within me, within you. How you are going to churn that up, that depends on you. So this brings me to the next point, how sustainability works as a lens. Because sustainability, when it started, we have seen pollution, we created laws, we created protocols, we created rules and norms, we staged protests, we conducted awareness campaigns. But what happened actually? We have seen systems which are not only harmful, but also in a way they are inefficient. So sustainability not only helps you to design better, but also it helps you to design more efficient systems, which are more cost effective, which are more robust, and which are less harm causing. So on that note, sustainability became mainstream in last 1 decade, especially since 2016, somewhere around when the new solid waste management rule and Swachh Bharat mission was introduced as a mainstream activity in all our lives, where we started thinking of sustainability rather than not only a protest, rather a topic of boardroom discussion, a topic of laboratory level innovation and engineering designs. So what does exactly that mean, sustainability as a lens? So when you look at things through this lens, the world looks different. For an engineer, it is the efficiency of the design. For a business owner, for an entrepreneur, it is the long-term survivability. And finally, for an innovator or for a creator, it is the lifelong learning and the life cycle of the product. So let me share a very quick personal story on this. Somewhere down the line, 8 years back, when I was just a budding engineer, just like you all, I visited a place which is supposed to be on pen and paper a sustainability facility, which is supposed to be a place where waste is being collected and treated. We all generate organic waste within our house premises. But do we really think that where exactly does it go? How exactly it gets treated? Are we actually really treating it? So with all these questions, I made this visit. I reached the facility. On paper, as I told earlier, it's supposed to be sustainable. However, in reality, I came across a facility where I witnessed a pile of waste, a garbage mountain, which was sitting right in front of me without any treatment, without any sort of scientific intervention. The atmosphere was smelly. I could barely breathe. And the people who are all working there around that place, they were literally suffocating, gasping for fresh oxygen. So when we throw waste from our house premises, the waste does not really go away. It sits, it harms the environment, and it intoxicates our own resources, which includes the air that we breathe, which includes the groundwater that we drink, and other forms of atmospheric ecosystems. So with this facility visit, something actually stayed within me, something that stayed inside for pretty long. I ideated for weeks, I ideated for months altogether. And you know what happened? We came up with an idea that actually had the potential to last long, which later on became the SANA reactor. So this is a reactor that had been innovated by us, my research group, which has the potential to convert waste into valuable form of energy within a remarkable period of 23 days. Whereas the conventional reactors, they typically take about 60 days for this valorization. However, in our case, this 23 days remarkable feature was attained by mixing the thought process of sustainability and the science behind it. So the real innovation here is not the timeline actually. It is the thought process. It is the design ideology. When anything as trivial as waste can be valorized in the form of energy. At today's point in time, when we talk about energy, the first thing that pops up in our mind is the energy scarcity. We are having power cuts, shortages of fossil fuel everywhere. However, these alternative energies are the solution for future. This brings me to another example, again from within our households. So the dustbin that is residing within our house premises, how many of us actually thought of managing it well? Do we really know what is the management of domestic dustbins? So more or less, nobody is aware. So the real answer is when the waste is not handled properly within your house premises, if you don't store it properly, it emits a gas called methane. So methane is an odorless and colorless gas, which is highly toxic, which has a potential to cause global warming, which has a potential to cause long-term climate change. Now, if methane is getting leaked within your indoor premises, it can actually trigger photochemical smog. So without even knowing, you might think that it is going to trigger something which will be a far-fetched thing in future. Climate change may get triggered because of this. However, you are not even realizing that it is actually causing photochemical smog within your home premises, and it has a potential not only to damage your breathing system, your pulmonary tissues, and so on and so forth. So the whole idea is to redesign the system. How to redesign? Because when you keep in mind, waste is not waste anymore, it's a misplaced resource, you start thinking differently. I always believe the most powerful ideas, they don't just stay likewise, they evolve and they redefine the future. At today's point in time, we can actually facilitate resource recovery from waste. We can facilitate energy recovery from waste. We can reduce, we can reuse, and we can recycle. By that, we can minimize the consumption of raw and virgin material. That is how we can ensure there is no depletion of the ever scarcing virgin material resources. With this idea, I want to leave you with a final thought process that the ideas which are going to scale, which are going to receive investment in future, which are going to become the #1 innovation, which are sustainable in nature, where sustainability is put forward rather than coming as an afterthought. So sustainability at today's point in time is no longer a question, why sustainability? That question has already been answered. But the real question is how sustainability is going to be integrated in your design philosophy and within your design language. So at today's point in time, I often cite this example that it is kind of a good to have feature for everybody, like the sunroofs on car. However, tomorrow it can be a necessary feature, just like life-saving feature like airbags. So thank you so much.